All right, so print in a digital world. You know, it's interesting. We find with a lot of our clients as we sort of build and put things out into the world that everybody sort of goes around with blinders on. So we started to create these trend reports because you don't have time to actually go out there and look and search and see all the cool stuff that people are dipping their toes into and where the world's going and how to get inspired by those things. And it's actually incredible when you start to look and research to actually see how many amazing print and digital things that are combining out there today. So it was interesting. I'm going to give you a little teaser sort of kickoff video, and then I'm going to walk you through some of the thinking that we've been looking at out there and some of the trends that are really making things change today. So, it was interesting. As I started to put these things together 3 years ago, my son, who was doing The Wizard of Oz at his school performance, said, "Daddy, you're kind of like the Wizard of Oz. You're kind of predicting the future." And it was kind of appropriate 3 years ago because nobody really knew where we were going. But last year, when we changed, we had to completely reframe. And I did it as the Mad Hatter because it was kind of Alice in Wonderland, going down the rabbit hole. Nobody really knew which way was up. But this year, as I started to build this thing, I was kind of lost because we started to see this big resurgence in print coming out of sort of AR and VR, and the technology was starting to really mix and match and marry. So I had to go Game of Thrones. So it was interesting. There was a big throne at the AT&T Center the other day. I was like, oh, maybe I need to sit in that. But putting my head on something was much better. But today we're really experiencing this world where, and what I call that Gutenberg press meets the internet. You've got these massive transfer mechanisms today, and they're colliding in a really interesting way. And if you're just staying one or the other, you're not playing with the world today, because the consumer is really the new CEO out there. And they're going to hack anything you put out there. They're going to do it the way they want to do it. They're going to engage with your brand, with your products, with your services, the way they want to engage with your products and brands and services. So, again, best laid plans, right? So, today, I'm going to reframe with this cool little video to start this thing off.
I'm very symmetrical. I can shoot from, any angle, which is actually very rare.
Hey guys, man shaving.
Enchanté.
Enchanté. Such a journey to go from a mild-mannered accountant, crunching numbers, pushing the pens, being a yes man, to being my own man.
Sometimes just life feels slightly unreal and you think, is this me? Is this my life? Is this really happening? Yes, it is. Am I going to be in the IKEA catalogue? Yes, I am.
I'm really excited. I'm so excited. This is a big deal.
It's kind of hard to get my head around, actually. If you think about it, 220 million people are going to see this on a daily basis.
I can't see what you're seeing, but you can see my whole face, right?
Definitely.
It's a lot of pressure on me to be the best man shaving that I can be.
220 million people. Wow.
That's
Really?
a lot of catalogues. And my 5-year-old son, he's very inquisitive. He's like, "Daddy, what are you doing? What's all the makeup and stuff?" I'm like, "Listen, son, Dad's famous now."
Reality shows, TV shows, whatever it is, drama, acting, more modelling.
I don't think there's any way I'm going to get away with not being recognised by everyone.
I'm going to be famous.
Oh, thank you. Right, so we've got to go.
If there's anything I could be doing differently to make it more convincing that I'm a shaver, you let me know, yeah? I'm your vessel.
This is what we call the set. This is the props.
Yeah.
So this might not even be real food. You'd never really know.
Move a little bit to your left, please. To the left now.
Here?
Perfect.
I could be in the next IKEA catalogue and the next one after that, and literally the face of IKEA.
Is someone going to do my
Can you
makeup?
just turn to your right, please?
Right.
A bit, yeah. Perfect.
The new IKEA catalogue, full of famous furniture.
You gotta love IKEA. I mean, they consistently put out these amazing sort of videos that talk to us in our world, but 220 million catalogs, 76 different versions they put out, and they target audiences across the world and build different versions of this catalog so that it connects with people in their individual markets. So they're a machine, but what they've come to realize is that people want the book. They hug it, they hold it, they keep it till the next one comes out, they dog-ear it. That's their comfort level. You read articles and you say, we want people just to have a cup of tea and read our book and hug our book and use our book and tear it apart, do whatever they want with it. But they've come to realize they have an endless aisle with their digital brand, but the book is what people crave. So you got to think about that as I'm going through some of these examples today. Immersive experiences. And I can't say this one enough. Experience, experience, experience. What are people experiencing when you're putting your products and services out there today? It's amazing as we started to look at examples of how actually brands and print are coming together to create these amazing immersive experiences out there. This one from Castorama in France kind of blew me away. This is wallpaper, completely printed, that interacts completely digitally. So check this video out.
Castorama, the popular French DIY store, presents Magic Wallpaper, the first wallpaper that tells stories. On the wall, dozens of characters. Each character is actually a digital marker. You scan it via a dedicated app, and the story begins. But wait, that's not all. By scanning two characters, you can combine them. And that's how you get hundreds of stories. Every type of combination becomes possible. Discover the adventure of the rainbow robot and the princess who didn't like dresses, or the jogging rhinoceros and the marine cat. Adventures to be read or listened to. Magic Wallpaper. Hundreds of stories to share as a family before going to sleep.
And if you talk immersive, that one just blew me away. Like, how can you use your print vehicles today to actually engage people, tell different stories with them, and have a takeaway? I mean, that's really the goal at the end of the day, is to have people sort of working with your brand. The magazine industry, and we're in the magazine industry, we have lots of titles. You know, we feel the bumps in the road. I mean, the newspaper industry got hit obviously really hard. But what we're starting to see now with magazines is really this mix to multimedia. And it's amazing. You know, Google, I don't know if you've seen the Vogue issue that just came out, 125th anniversary. It's about yay thick. But they've actually taken the articles and integrated them with Google Home so that you can ask questions while you're reading the articles to Google Home, and Google Home will tap into the actual interviews. So you can actually hear Jennifer Lawrence being interviewed, and then you can ask Google Home questions about the interview, and it'll jump to the place in the interview that you want to hear about. So again, different way to take a look at immersion. But I want to show you this one from Snap and Garage, because they said we're going to push the boundary of sort of technology, and we're going to continually push the boundary of technology with our magazines today. So, as you can see, not only are they building these interesting pieces that get people using the magazine in a different way, but they're actually giving filters that you take away and are plugged into your phone that you're constantly referring back to. So again, just a really different way. And their mission statement now is to push technology. They're a magazine, right? So think about it. And obviously not to be outdone, this W magazine that's just come out with Katy Perry is incredible. The multimedia spectrum across all the articles, from videos to AR, VR, plugins, apps, it just blew us away. It was just incredible sort of where they're going with it. But again, it's making it relevant. You have to think about that. It's immersive, it's digital, it's printed, and it's relevant today to the consumer. Two really interesting ones in terms of travel and immersion that we thought were really cool. So Emirates, flying out, decided to have their printed kits for their first class customers actually scannable. So you could scan, read, and then all kinds of interesting stories would come up while you were on the plane. So again, just a really cool little interesting piece. Love this one out of France for taking the train, and basically you could pick your story. So again, there were stories that were 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and they'd print out on demand a little story that you could read on the train free. But again, really connected to their brand, and their brand is publishing, and they put out something that was really different, and it was a take-along, and they ended up having rows of these things because the demand was so high for them. Love this one. And I don't know if any of you saw this, but they basically take a very eclectic restaurant, built 16 different chefs into the restaurant, all speaking different languages and creating different foods, and then they use Google Translate so that you could read all the signage and the menus and interact with everybody in the restaurant. And they had signs, I speak this language, I speak this language, I speak this language. I put this video in, it's a little longer, but it was so immersive, I thought I had to play it for you.
Food is a universal language because it's not just a necessity of life, but it's one thing that definitely brings people together.
Food should not be intimidating. It should be a welcoming thing. And I think that that's what we're doing here.
Food is a language. Food connects you. Doesn't matter where you are, food is history. So if you know the history behind the food you're cooking, you're able to express it much better on the plate.
My initial thought was like, wow, that's like pretty out there.
What is Small World?
It's like a crazy, awesome art project. It's celebration of languages, celebration of different cultures, celebration of food. I don't know what to expect. Japanese for the entree.
You're gonna get this rice you've never tasted.
Irish, Korean, Israeli, and Nordic in one meal, it's like unheard of.
Ideally for me, it's gonna be like controlled chaos.
We have totally different cuisine, but we can understand each other. We come from the same passion to food. Okay, guys, so what we're gonna do together?
Who's gonna take what? Doing something without a little bit of risk or a little bit of stress, it's just not exciting. I never wanted to play by the rules. It's boring.
This is like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
I think it's going to be fascinating for people to see different cultures like coming together in one meal.
If we all bring the most turned up flavors that you can, the guest experience is just like these insane pops of flavor.
It's a lot of flavor, yeah.
Lehet rendelni a pikáns rizstorta.
Soba noodle.
Ceviche de poulpe, s'il vous plaît.
We're bringing technology along with food, breaking that barrier of I can't eat there because I'm unable to speak the language.
Richieno crab. Agnello tre modi.
Albóndigas de ternera.
Matcha pudding.
Does everyone speak the language of food? And I believe the answer to that is that yes, especially now.
It was amazing tonight. It was great. They start actually to work with this bunch of people. Food bring people together and cultures and community.
And that's what this is all about. Thank you guys. Bringing together people through the language of food.
Again, I just love the way they sort of executed that and put it together, and it was an immersive experience. But think about how you can actually use the power of Google Translate, how you can actually make people question what it is they're looking at or open up a new experience to them. And again, you know, we've seen tons from the world of Google Cardboard and interesting headsets, and now the next world of VR is taking off. But it doesn't have to be that complicated. This Kickstarter program, which was really cool, called Nicotine, which was a quit smoking program, used a really simple sort of cardboard setup and all kinds of interesting print materials that tied into an app that you could slide into the headset, and boom, they've got an immersive program that's built on quitting smoking. Again, it doesn't have to be complex, and this didn't cost them a lot to put together. Now, these guys are always battling, right? They always want to go to the next generation. It's amazing. QSR has really taken the lead in doing really cool immersive things and really cool, interesting sort of, I'd call them kludged together new models. So McDonald's decided to come out and do a kind of cool for two boombox where you actually turned your cup holder upside down, plugged it in, and it was a boombox, and it actually played the speakers pretty loud, and it was interesting, and called it their boombox. Not to be outdone, Burger King took their little kiddie meal and turned it on its head, and I'm going to play that one for you because it was a little too salacious for its own good.
Kids meal? That's for kids. Burger King presents the Adults Meal with an adult toy inside. Only on Valentine's Day and only from 6 p.m. Burger King.
You gotta love it. Again, but again, that's really hard to say think outside the box, but they really, again, it's QSR, they're battling, but they're doing these really cool things at the same time that people are taking notice of. And again, think about the media that gets covered on these things. You know, you have to think about the extension of that brand as you're doing cool stuff as well. This is probably one of my favorite sections and favorite trends that we saw out there. Art, not ads. Yeah, okay, at the end of the day, yeah, it's marketing, and we've got to get it out there, but sometimes when you really go beyond creativity, people take notice in different ways. And it's amazing some of the creative solutions that we're seeing out there today, and some of the really cool instances and trends that are actually populating the globe. So this one was awesome. I mean, it was sort of beyond. It was basically a book or a Bible of rock and roll that's this thick. And I'm just going to play the video for you because, I mean, it was a spectacular piece.
Kiss FM believes that rock is more than a musical genre. It's a culture that deserves to have its history preserved. And what better way to preserve a good story than in a book? Isn't just any book. When the record spins normally, you hear a classic. When it spins backwards, the story behind each song comes to life.
I am the one who waits patiently for a soldier to drag himself along until he dies.
But a book like this can't go on just any old shelf. That's why Kiss FM decided to send it to a sacred place in far-off Cleveland, Ohio.
And of course we know It ended up at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But the amount of coverage that thing got was incredible. And I can't stress enough, touch and feel and seeing things and interacting with them is so important today. You could not do this digitally. You could not get this out there and have it feel the way it does in a digital world today. Now, did it get digital impressions? Yeah, all over the map, right? Tons of coverage on something like this because it was a spectacle. It was interesting. It was unique. But again, it was physical. I had to put this in because it won 3 Silver Can Lions. I love Lego. I have a 9-year-old. I step on those little 1 pieces and go a lot. But this was just brilliant, and it was a print ad. It didn't go anywhere. You know, Lego, they're great with doing sort of the magic walls and bringing things in AR and VR, and obviously their content world took them from bankruptcy when they started to create their movies. But they know how powerful print is, and they did these incredible Lego basic statues that they built to have kids sort of dream and say, what do you want to be? You know, space, fire, rock star. So again, if you do it right and you think about it artistically, it's got power and it's got impact. It just can't be an ad for an ad's sake. A little hot and cold here, but 2 really interesting sort of takes. So Warsaw, Poland, they have a big problem with homeless people being out in the cold, and obviously it's Poland and it gets really cold. So they created this amazing book that's got thermogenic ink in it, and if you're in your warm, cozy house, you can't see anything. The pages are all blank. You go outside, the temperature hits 0, all the pages come to life. Again, interesting way to bring that thought for people to, it's cold, this is what happens in the cold, and look at the homeless, and we've got to deal with that problem today. Other side of the world, you've got Vichy, and they're basically saying, look, people are getting cancer from being out in the sun and not being protected. They went out and took influencers and celebrities and different people, and they aged them in the sun on one side of the box, and then they had their normal shot on the other side of the box, and they sent them all out to the influencers showing what the difference in sun and sun protection meant to them. Cool, interesting way to do it, but again, it was physical, it was printed, it was interesting, and it got people talking about it. This one from Hertz was crazy, because they basically took a new Volvo and printed the entire interior so it could be colored in, and then wiped off. I don't know how much of a crew it takes to do that, but they have a whole series of these now for this immersive, incredible experience that's printed Volvos that the kids can color in literally everything in this Volvo. So again, good for the road trip, and I can't imagine what it looked like after the fact and cleaning it, but interesting. This one from Argentina, though, it just got me. I looked at it. So this is a book, and again, teaching our children what the world's going to be like. They implanted and sprayed in seedlings into the paper so that after you were finished with the book, you planted the book and it grew a tree. Again, just interesting, different way, and once people start talking about that type of thing, it goes everywhere. So you have to think about, you know, this is an art form, right? We're putting things out to the world, and if they're cool enough and they teach our kids the right way and they teach other marketers the right way, you'll see more of it. This one from TAM Airlines was way out there. So they had a new sort of line that they wanted to push. But what they did was when you signed up to get your airline ticket, they had a little Facebook Connect button. So if you hit Facebook Connect, it said you'll get these interesting rewards and surprises, blah, blah, blah. So people started hitting the Facebook Connect button. But what you got when you got on the plane was a customized airline book for you. Not an airline book for everybody else. But this had all your friends in it, things you liked. It's amazing what Facebook actually scrapes and how much information Facebook actually has on you, that you can create an entire magazine that's catered and tailored to you. But they did that, and people obviously on social media just went nuts, right? So, but very cool. You can't do this all the time, but really interesting. But this one from ESPN that they did for Kobe Bryant, literally, they took the rule book and they did this with it.
It's time to celebrate greatness for 20 years. Excellence for 20 years. This is for Kobe Bryant, the man who's won everything. We're very proud to have this man calling our town his own town for the last 20 years. Greatest sports icon, and also the perfect player to wear the purple and gold. Kobe is as tough as we need him to be. Not even injuries can stop him. 5 championships, 19 Laker records, 9 NBA records. He has scored 25 times over 50 points. He's the youngest player to reach 30,000 points. And we all remember the night he scored 81 points. So here now, Laker Nation, let's give him the longest standing ovation that he's ever seen in his life.
Now, yeah, limited run. You can't do 24 books on most games. But the media that got was unprecedented. These things became instant collectibles. Everybody was talking about it. Completely artistic, super cool. You don't need to have pythons in your videos. But again, it was just an interesting way to actually get out there and take on a brand and put something out there in a meaningful but artistic way. And it doesn't, you know, when you think about art forms, it doesn't have to be complex. This really interesting piece that S.A.B. Miller did for Braxis was literally an ink, and we all have the phone in our pocket that has a light on it now, and you can take the flashlight to reveal something. Simple, interesting paper, simple, interesting reveal that you could put your phone behind, and it would reveal all the little secrets that were behind the page. Easy. This one, which I couldn't show you the video for because it was too scary. I'm not joking. If you want to go and Google it on your own. But what they did, this is a coffee brand. And they took their coffee filters and they printed Stay Awake horror stories on their coffee filters, and a different story for each coffee filter. But the beauty of this is when you put the coffee filter into the coffee pot and poured in the hot water, it dissolved into their dark roast coffee. So they're getting this beautiful printed piece, this beautiful set of stories. The videos are creepy and out there, but again, interesting way to like put your brand out there and have someone experience it. So no video for you. More than ink on a page. You know, I can't stress this one enough. It's amazing what we're seeing in terms of conductive inks. Cryogenic inks, chronic inks, things that you can touch and things change, things that open to the air, things that open to the light. It's amazing now how many things we're seeing that have changed the world. This one, called The Next Rembrandt that ING put out, I'm playing the video for this one because this, even though it's a one piece, it's a big one piece.
The Next Rembrandt brings back to life one of the greatest masters. Only this time, data is the painter and technology, the brush. Together with experts from various fields, over 160,000 fragments from all of Rembrandt's 346 paintings were analyzed. using 3D scans and digital files, upscaled by a deep learning algorithm. Facial recognition software was designed to understand Rembrandt's style and generate new facial features, which were assembled based on his use of geometric proportions. Finally, using a height map to mimic Rembrandt's brushstrokes, the painting was brought to life through an advanced 3D printer that printed 13 layers of paint-based ink. And so, 347 years after his death, a new Rembrandt painting made from zeros and ones emerged, unveiled and exhibited in Amsterdam. Experts, the press, and the general public were invited to join the conversation about where data and technology can take us. A conversation that went global.
Nieuwe schilderij van Rembrandt. Impressive just from a data standpoint.
Numérique, il a pris forme à Amsterdam.
Rembrandt makes a return. A number of organizations took a seemingly impossible task.
148 billion pixels.
It looks precisely like a Rembrandt portrait.
The world was buzzing with all the leading news channels and blogs reporting about the fading boundaries between technology and humanity. Almost 100 million people joined the conversation about ING's innovation defying imagination. The next Rembrandt. What's next?
If you want to be ING and you want to be known for innovation, I think they kind of nailed it. I mean, I was blown away by that one, and it obviously went worldwide, and it had a huge impact in the market. But if that's not print in the digital world using AI learning algorithms to reproduce a Rembrandt, I don't know what is. These were very cool. The Samsonite one was interesting. So we've all been there. We've all, had our luggage overweight and unpacking and repacking our bags in front of the counter. Samsonite decided they'd set up a little stand with these really interesting tags, and they designed them so that they were perfectly set on the weight for your baggage for going into the thing, so that 50-pound range or however it sits today. And you could pick it up, and if it snapped, your bag was overweight. You could grab another one and repack your bag and try it out. Again, just interesting, novel, but it was highly engineered, and people started talking about it because obviously it saved them from having to repack, put it on the scale, do the thing. So again, novel. I don't know how many they went through with people snapping them, but interesting. This one from ASICS, really interesting. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm not going to stand on my iPad because that's not going to really happen for it. But ASICS took a printed ad and took this amazing ink and basically it has a thermal property in it. And I'm going to play this video for you because this one really I loved. Totally innovative, and if you think people aren't using that and talking about it, that's awesome. Again, and that's an innovation in print. IKEA again, really smart. They came out with parchment paper that you could cook with that gave you the entire recipe. So there's a pinch of this, buy the things, and of course, cross-promote it with their own products in the store, so you could actually buy all the products there. But again, it goes into the oven, and you bake up something for the family, and it's a print technology. There wasn't anything digital about this thing. Conductive inks are showing up all kinds of places in billboards and interesting signage today where you can actually scratch, beat, play music, interact completely with things, record stuff. It's amazing the stuff that I've seen out there that's doing this and reacts in to the touch. McDonald's came out with a really cool one where you could put your phone on it, Bluetooth interface, and you could actually mix music with your friends at the table. A little bit of beatboxing. But this one from Pizza Hut, this one is that next level. Now, I don't know about the cheese and the gooey pizza that may sit on the box at the end of the day and how well this works, but this is an interactive DJ pizza box, and check this out.
This is the world's first playable DJ pizza box.
Live on mic, you know who's in charge. Who's in charge? Live on mic, you know who's in charge. Live on deck, you know who's in charge. Cause live on mic, you know who's in charge. Come again. Who's in charge? Live on mic, you know who's in charge. Live on deck, you know who's in charge.
That's taking print and ink to a completely different level. And again, this thing got worldwide acclaim. People were playing with it. It hitched instantly into any system, so you could actually play it over your speakers. Again, chemistry, really interesting piece. So North Face, they're known for the great outdoors. How do they actually translate something into something that's useful? And I keep going back to that because you've seen a lot of this in this. Utility, utility, utility. How are you going to make it useful for people? How's it engaging? How's it interactive? How's it immersive? You hear these trends over and over. So this simple printed ad took 3 chemicals, put it into the ad so that when they ripped it out, they could put it in a piece of water, fold it up, and it had 2 hours of light that it gave so you could read a book from it. Again, it's a print ad, but it's right on their brand. It's a really cool experience, and it just took some thinking about what that was going to be to actually create something that had those different sort of chemicals in it and be right on their brand. Again, thinking really differently, taking a little bit of pollution, taking a really cool device and turning it into ink. Company out of Singapore, Air Ink, basically took car exhaust and turned it into ink and turned it into marker kits and turned it into bottles and then started doing these incredible graphics all over the city and creating boxes and different pieces out of it, and super interesting, really artistic, way more than just thinking about printing something out. I love this one from Opal, and I love it because it's a little bit of a secret and a surprise, and it's a very simple one to execute based on using different types of ink in a print magazine. But I'm going to play this one for you because they were trying to basically sell the fact that they had incredible headlights that would stop you from dangers. So check it out. Again, how do you get that complex message across? I think they did it extremely effectively. I love the little, just as you're taking the photo, you get that little surprise too, which is cool. I'm just playing this one because this one gets me every time, so I'll talk to you about it after.
We started with a simple leafleting campaign, so we could identify the people who love dogs. And with paper-thin RFID chips embedded in the leaflets, we made them discoverable. Hidden sensors alerted the digital screens when someone with a leaflet approached, triggering our dog to appear. Whichever direction they approached, a different video was triggered. Just like a real stray, our dog appeared wherever they went, trying to attract their attention. Then he followed them from one poster to another, all around the area. Once he'd made his presence felt, he told people what he wanted them to do. With multiple screens all over the area, our dog followed people no matter which route they took. Over a 2-week period, we directed thousands of people to the Battersea website and the Twitter feed where lots of lonely dogs were featured. Bringing new leads to Britain's oldest dogs home.
Okay, so 10 times more leads than dogs. I kind of think that one worked. And that's not complex because they hijacked a system, right? They only literally needed to program and figure out how to use RFID technology to hit the beacons that were set up on the system already to actually create something that drove. And it's amazing when you read the whole case study on it. They tried digital, get their word out there, hashtags, it didn't matter what. This simple leaflet converted people. So again, you just got to think about how to get it out there and how to use it effectively. This is one of my favorites. You know, we've all got car brochures and we've all sort of taken a look at them and flipped through them and looked at the technology in the car. But when you create a digital dashboard in your car and you want to show that, that's a lot of photographs to actually get that and convey that across. So Audi created this amazing brochure hack, and I'm going to play this one for you because it's awesome.
Audi launched the new TT, the first with a revolutionary virtual cockpit. Our task? Inspire customers with this futuristic feature. The catch? Do it using the conventional sales brochure. The Audi TT brochure hack, an augmented journey through the virtual cockpit. Simply place your phone on the brochure to begin.
Die View-Taste ermöglicht gezielte Kontrolle auch bei schneller Fahrt.
Touching the hotspots on the page let you navigate every aspect of the display. Using conductive print, we turn the page into a smart surface, enabling haptic feedback. An embedded Bluetooth chip delivers a seamless experience between the brochure and your phone. You can also configure the car and request a test drive. By turning an informative brochure into a storytelling platform, we bring customers one step closer to driving the new Audi TT.
Not your ordinary brochure. And again, you can see how compelling that is and how interesting it was for you to be able to actually engage with your phone. And then again, if you notice that one key thing, and then take it away and use it, right? And now you've got the phone, the car, the configurator sitting in your phone, you've got all the information on it, you're one step away from, I want to go check that out. So I'm going to end today with this one because this was really this interesting amalgam of print and the digital world for me, and it was really kind of digital meets origami, and Honda came out with this and said, you know, let's tell the whole Honda story from our origins to today and do it a really interesting way, and I love it. Great way to tell your story. So you were the first people to see this because it hasn't been even launched or released yet. It comes out in October, but if you go to that URL, you can sign up for the new release of it. You'll get access to everything. It's free. All the videos, all the downloads, everything that comes with it. There's literally hundreds of amazing examples that we found all over the world of really interesting things. And again, they go from extremely simple to, you know, on the far end, really complex. But it's fun, it's interesting, and I know we don't always have the time to go and do that research ourselves. Because A, it really helps our clients and they get out there and get to experience it. And then B, we love to go and share that knowledge because I think it really helps the industry as a whole. So thank you very much.